Today is Wednesday, June 9th, and I'm Derek O'Shea, and this is the Derek O'Shea Show. Following Clarence Thomas's lead, Ohio Attorney General files lawsuit to classify Google as common carry, or what we in the political podcast world, especially those that are kind of conservative, libertarian, push back on the establishment, get taken off YouTube, told to shut up. Hey, this video, you can't say this word, but we can put ISIS murderings on this video, or sexual acts on this video, but you said this word that the CDC said last month, so you're gone. Gonna call it a public utility. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost has balls and has asked that the court to legally declare Google as a public utility in a lawsuit filed against Big Tech, and he's dead. Just kidding. According to Yost, Google should be viewed in the same way as electricity, water, and gas providers, arguing that Google hurts its rivals by prioritizing its own products and services in search results. Of course they are. How do you think they make so much money? And displaying them above those of the competitors, according to CNET. Oh, Yost. Good luck with this one. Will it be just another Republican crying and not doing anything about it? Or, twist, he changes the world and makes it so Google has to allow freedom of speech on their platform, and they can't take down anyone. Unless it's violence. Literal violence. Or a crime being committed. But just talking and having your opinion. Could you imagine a YouTube or a Google or a Twitter that allowed freedom of speech to happen? It's almost like ideas would be shared and people would learn from each other. And then you would learn that maybe there isn't more racists in the world because of Google censoring. There's the same amount. And there's the same amount of idiots out there. And the only people we got rid of were people that were decent or just said crazy things here and every once in a while, and you got to laugh at. Oh, could you imagine a world, a Google that looked like an American company and felt like an American company as opposed to its own entity, just, controlling the world. But when Nigeria says, hey, you're not allowed here anymore because of what you did. Hey, you can't ban us. You're taking away the internet from people. Oh, but you're allowed to take the internet away from conservatives or people that have different views than you? Yeah. Don't you love how it just comes around? We'll see what this happens. I'm going to keep a heavy eye on this one because I like the idea of Dave Yost throwing it down. Clarence Thomas having his back. El Salvador made history today as the country legislature passed a law making Bitcoin a legal tender in Central American nation. How cool is that? You could just legally use it anywhere. Apparently, their GDP rose 25% by just doing this. But, America, we hate the idea of decentralized anything in our establishment. The IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, one region that should be just taken away from, is looking to increase their power to regulate the cryptocurrency industry, asking Congress for the authority to access and collect data on its use and users, according to IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig. Yes. Don't you love the establishment? The arguments I hear against Bitcoin just seem... I don't think they hold much weight, and maybe it's just because I'm more of a libertarian where I think that more freedom doesn't necessarily mean everyone and their mom is going to be a murderous psychopath that's going to pay off killers in Bitcoin. I see it as a way to slow down inflation and a good a currency that you can pass across even countries, that you don't have to do some weird thing, and I see it as a very secure way to hold your currency, and it just makes so much more sense than the actual dollar. It's more futuristic feeling. It makes me feel like I'm in 2021 and not 1901, you know? So let me know your thoughts on Bitcoin. I'm a huge fan of Bitcoin. I'm a huge fan of cryptocurrency, but I'm also a huge fan of anything anti-establishment for the most part, because I just hate the people that are in power that can regulate what the value of a dollar is when you're a hardworking American or a hardworking person like myself. I don't know what country you're in. We have other people that listen to this in other countries, and they are in charge of how much you made $7 yesterday an hour, but they're in charge of how much that $7 an hour is worth. And I don't feel like that's okay. I know people are like, the CDC are just making rules. You don't have to think about it, dude. You could just do whatever you want. Like, just allow the government to tell you how to think and feel. I'm not that person. I'm too much of an independent thinker, entrepreneurial spirit. I just don't want... I like the idea of me being in control more of the currency. Or, hey, Bitcoin's not doing well, I'm going to throw it all on Ethereum. Like, I just, But IRS, doing what IRS does, they want to control the money system and, stop you from buying all your drugs and hookers and murderers. Because that's all Bitcoin is. None of us are just holding on diamond hand in it and just waiting for it to be a currency, a legal currency. On Tuesday, the U.S. Senate approved a bipartisan $250 billion bill to seek to undermine Chinese ambitions in technology, space, by boosting U.S. competitiveness, providing funding for technology research and development. Because there's nothing better in the world than just throwing money at a problem. Hey guys, we need to go in more debt. Let's just throw $250 billion, which is actually worth only $250 million. But let's just throw money at it. Instead of putting money in your Americans' hands by taking down taxes and taking away some regulations and industries, and just allowing our American minds and the entrepreneurial spirit and the independent freedom-ish, whatever, spirit to make these technological advances, like someone like an Elon, someone like that Virgin Wireless guy. Just forget it. I'm blanking on his name. But there's people out there that actually want to progress in technology, and they want to do it to make money, but also because it's really fun and awesome. But they want to do it to make money, and why would you not want the free market to do what the free market does best, which is make things competitive and make things way better for everyone? Has there anything the government has done that they've thrown money at that made it better? I keep running into this problem, and it's like beating a dead horse. They're just like, we just got to put more money in it. We got to put more money in it. We got to put more money in it. There's not enough money here. Our school system is failing. It's probably because we're not putting enough money in it. And that might be true. Or it might be, maybe we should make school choice a thing. Maybe we should, more private schools should pop up. Maybe some more, academic-minded schools pop up. What are your thoughts on throwing money at things that are not doing as well, especially something like technology? Wouldn't you want people who have a desire to progress in technology just to do it on their own, like a Steve Jobs, like, Bill Gates, making something incredible in their garage and then changing the world based on what they made in a freaking garage? Or would you want a government agency just throwing money at something, wasting your tax dollar money to come up with research with a bunch of government officials just sitting there in bureaucracy and everyone taking their cut and taking their holidays? And no, I want a crazy person that's in their garage making something incredible for free for a long time because they're so passionate about what they're making, and therefore when they make it big, they will make even more better things in the world. It's like Apple didn't just stop with the first computer. They kept going. If it was a government agency, they would probably just make one computer and then just be like, see, here it is. Boom. What do you guys want us to work on next? As opposed to a company being created out of an idea and changing the world and then making better products in the future. I don't know. I'm not a business major or an economic advisor, so I'm just an average person like you. Elon Musk's boring loop is finally transporting passengers in Las Vegas. CNET says, look at this review from CNET. The Boring Company has officially opened the first loop in Las Vegas. And while it's not quite high speed, driverless future, what we hope for, it certainly beats walking. Cheers to a terrible review. Hey, I can't drive a car in here. Can't drive very fast. Maybe one day I'll drive a car in here. But it's better than just walking, I guess. Great job, Elon. 40 feet under the ground, and we can walk a little faster. You know, and that's the kind of... That's what we're talking about when I talk about not throwing money at a problem. He did that out of just an idea. And it's going to get better, but the first product is never the best. AOC is back in the news. Cow, I don't know why I feel like I need to report on her, but, you know, everyone else does, so why not just be like everyone else? Ocasio-Cortez has said that Biden's immigration policy is inhumane. Finally, she decides that, oh, maybe I'm being a little hypocritical and I should speak out against this. Warning people not to come seems like the precursor to violence against immigrants. Jeez. Oh, this woman. I told you, Kamala, when AOC said she was gravely disappointed in your comments. She wasn't done. She's going to keep coming. Biden's immigration policy is inhumane. Yes, it is. We've been saying conservatives and people with a logical mind have been watching the border situation and saying this is inhumane. They're just bringing children who aren't necessarily their children, dropping them off at the border, and also as they cross and then just leaving them there to die, but with the hopes that Americans are just going to save them. Drug trafficking is going across, sex trafficking, lots of rape abuse victims through the traveling. Yes, it's very inhumane. That's what we've been saying for forever. But now you're waking up to it because Kamala said, don't come. That was the most humane thing she could have said. Don't come because it's a very dangerous trek. Yes, Kamala is right on that. These people and their hypocriticalness, politicians, they can't just have one message or one idea, thought, and just hold on to it. And then whenever something goes against the idea, they can't just speak out against it. They have to change their mantra, change the thing they're saying based on who's saying it and who's in power and who's pushing back, especially someone like AOC who has she's an influencer. She's not just a politician. She has to change the way she speaks based on what her audience needs are, whatever they push. This story. Matthew Katzman grew up in a privileged Bathsheba, Maryland, a prestigious D.C. suburb, American Oxford student who's 25 years old, who attended elite Sidwell school with Malia Obama, just a couple of name drops, sparks fury in the UK by removing an unwelcoming portrait of the Queen from the common room because she represents recent colonial history. Something like a rich white doing the saving. I know I've accredited from my parents doing all the heavy lifting, but I'm woke now, and I'm here to destroy everything they've created. Oh, and my life's perfect. Defund the police? Heck yeah, I have security guards. Who cares? I'm 25 years old, and I'm Matthew Katzman. Hi, I'm Matthew Katzman. I'm here to apply in your school, and I'm going to change it forever. Have I experienced any kind of hardships in my life? Yes. I've had to wait a day longer to get my Xbox One because my mom didn't put an order in for it. What's it? I hate these. I think the thing I hate the most is seeing a story like this, and then liberals and leftists have this idea that all these white guys experience the same thing. I've never been in an expensive school. I've never been in an elite school. I've never been with like a celebrity's son or daughter. I've never like gone through all these schools and been rich my whole life. But they all put us in the same course. They're just like, hey, you benefited somehow. I know when I look at your history, it doesn't seem that way, but there's got to be a way. Award-winning teacher quits $52,000 New Jersey private school over its radicalist thinking. Congrats. And teaching of critical race theory that forces students to adopt the status of privilege or victimhood. Yes. You're either the oppressor or the oppressed. Whatever room you walk into, you always have to pick a category. Could you imagine prescribing to CRT in this theory, and every room you walk in, you wonder if you're the oppressor or the oppressed at all times, as opposed to just, hey, my name's Derek. What's your name? Nice to meet you. What do you do for a living? As opposed to, okay, I'm a white guy. How many white guys are in here? Oh, I'm the only white guy. I'm the oppressor. No matter what the situation is. No matter what. No matter my background or what I do for a living, even though I walk into a room and all these black guys make way more than me and have nice houses, and I'm in my one bedroom with my Tacoma with 265,000 miles, I'm the oppressor. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm just glad more people are speaking up, even an award-winning teacher. I love when like a teacher or nurse or somebody that goes against the status quo speaks out against the CRT crap, and they're just like, hey, you're a teacher. You're supposed to think alike like all the teachers in the union, right? No. $52,000 a year for school. New York Times defends its board member who sparked fury by claiming she was disturbed to see dozens of American flags on pickup trucks during a recent trip to Long Island, saying her words were taken out of context. I can't think of anything the New York Times have ever done taking a person's words out of context. There's great people on both sides. I don't care if it was taken out of context. And it wasn't. I watched the video. You could maybe say that, but just the idea, that's a very common idea in seeing pickup trucks, white men, conservative, probably Trump supporters, American flags, old, what is that white guy said that took down the Queen's picture? Recent colonial history probably sparks recent colonial fears in her heart. We're creating a bunch of anxiety-driven people that are going to need lots of counseling in the future. And it has nothing to do with actual reality. It's a fabricated reality based on people in power in the media just spurring up people, making people crazy. I've been saying this over and over again. They are so liable for what they do to people and making people insane, not based on fact, based on conjecture and just guesswork, I guess. I don't know. New exciting news is just coming out. It's always good to have good news. Earth finally has 5 oceans. 5 oceans to surf. 5 oceans. The National Geographic finally recognizes the Antarctica Southern Ocean on its map alongside Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, and Arctic. Thank you, National Geographic, for finally recognizing Atlantic's Southern Ocean. God, who cares? Mark Zuckerberg. This guy, he's in charge of so much. And his best friend's with Dr. Fauci. Mark Zuckerberg posted a video of himself throwing a spear with ear protectors on. That's so beta, dude. You don't have to think about it, man. Mark Zuckerberg posted a video of himself throwing a spear with ear protectors on. And he's in charge of your hate speech. And today in history, in 1973, at the Belmont Stakes, the Secretariat becomes the first horse since Citation in 1948 to win America's coveted Triple Crown, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes. In one of the finest performances in racing history, Secretariat, ridden by Ron Turcotte, completed the 1.5-mile race in 2 minutes and 24 seconds, a dirt track record for that distance. Whoa! Congrats, Secretariat, and you're dead. Thank you guys so much for listening to The Derek O'Shea Show. I appreciate you guys so much. Were they testing their horses for methamphetamine back then? Let's not ruin a good thing. Have a fantastic day. And please, guys, if you don't mind sharing this video with your friends and friends, your friends, and I don't know what I was gonna say. It's been that kind of morning, people. Please share this video with everyone you know. Put it on every social media platform. Shove it in their face. Tell them about the Politically Homeless podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying it. And I just put out an audio version of the podcast I did with Carissa the other night. I thought it was an awesome conversation. If you haven't checked it out, it's on my YouTube page. It's an hour and a half long, so I know it's a long podcast, but we got into Marxism, Black Lives Matter, term limits, the reason people stay poor, the reason the nuclear family, and how to fix that. We got into a lot of things. It was funny. It's always funny getting into things and then listening to other podcasts realize, like, hey, I talked about that 2 days ago. This podcast is cutting edge, people, and people need to know about it. Anyways, have a great day. Enjoy this day. And find one person in your life that seems down to make a difference in their life. Because that's the best way to fight back against this political insanity, is just making a difference in your own little world. Have a fantastic day, and as always, I'll see you on the next episode of The Derek O'Shea Show.